Today I told my wife she looks a lot prettier with her hair back. Apparently that's insensitive to say to somebody who's going through chemotherapy. What's up, weirdos? Scott here. Thanks again for visiting the channel. As always, I appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the content. And today we're doing a quick review on the Microtech AMPHIBIAN with the RAM-LOK. I absolutely love this knife. So this is a custom knife that Microtech makes, but they finally made a cheaper version of it with the RAM-LOK, which I absolutely love the RAM-LOK. It's an amazing lock in my opinion. Very, very strong. There's been a lot of opinions out there. There's been a lot of people out there saying that the RAM-LOK fails, but I've got 3 knives with the RAM-LOK, and I fuck around with them all the time. I've never had any of them fail. I'm sure it's a thing, but I don't think it's a widespread problem. So anyway, let's get some quick measurements on this guy real quick. Overall, this guy is 9.25 inches with a blade length of 3.90 inches and a cutting edge of 3.70 inches. Has a handle of 5.35 inches. We'll go ahead and do some size comparisons. Compared to the Rat Model 1, the Amphibian is going to be a little bit longer than the Rat Model 1. And the Rat Model 2 obviously is going to be dwarfed by the Amphibian, I'm sure. Yep, that's it's a pretty big knife, as you guys can tell. Next up is the Ritter Hogue RSK MK1 G2. Doug Ritter's answer to the Benchmade Griptilian. That's going to be just a little bit shorter than the Amphibian, and the 8020.5 is also going to be quite a bit shorter than the Amphibian. Next up are the Spyderco knives. The Spyderco Paramilitary 2, if I can get that knife closed. Paramilitary 2 is going to be just a little bit longer, just a little bit shorter than the Amphibian. And the Para 3 obviously is going to be quite a bit smaller than the Amphibian. Some thickness compared to the Spyderco Para 3. Can I get a thickness? Let's see here. So the Para 3 is going to be just a little bit thinner than the Amphibian. Not a whole lot. This guy's not too bad in the pocket. And at the tallest point of the blade, we'll go with the back there, it looks like it's just about the same height. Yeah, you can see that this is going to be a little bit tall for the pocket, but it's a larger knife, as you guys can see. It shouldn't be terrible in the pocket, though, in my opinion. And last but not least, we'll compare these to the Hinderer knives. The Hinderer XM24 is going to be just a little bit longer than the Amphibian, and the XM18 obviously is going to be just a little bit shorter than the Amphibian. There you go. You can see those there. Let's get a quick weight on this guy. It's supposed to be 5.9 ounces. We'll see how close that is. Sorry, I got all kinds of garbage on my review table today, guys. All right, here we go. Make sure you can see the screen. Make sure it's zeroed out. Bazinga. Okay, good. Let's see here. All right, 6 ounces. This says 5.9 ounces. My scale says 6 ounces. My scale might be a little bit off. I don't know, but it's pretty close to 6 inches no matter what way you look at it. Which 6 ounces is not terrible for me. That's pretty close to... I could carry a knife pretty religiously as long as it's 6 ounces or under. I'm a big dude. I usually wear jeans, so that doesn't bother me at all. Let's get a quick blade stock thickness on this guy. Blade stock thickness is supposed to be 150 thousandths. Make sure this is zeroed out. Okay. All right, so yeah, around 150 thousandths. I'd say it's probably closer to 155, just because my calipers are reading at 160. So yeah, 150, 155, I'd say, is pretty close to the blade stock thickness for this guy. Let's see here. We're looking at M390, which is just M390 with a little bit of adjustment made to it. I think it has slightly higher edge retention and slightly higher corrosion resistance, but everybody out there knows M390 is probably the most used steel on the market today. Between between cost and quality, everybody in the knife community today knows that M390 is probably one of the most widely used steels on the market. I kind of feel like they should get away from it a little bit more, but Microtech is doubling down and they're using M390 for everything that they do, which that's fine. I'm not gonna fault them for that. It's a good steel. It's reliable. People enjoy it. I just wish we'd see a little bit more of a S45 or maybe even S90V. Those are really good steels as well. But I digress. I'm going to go ahead and carry on with the review. So we're looking at a kind of a recurve blade profile here. I'd say this is a moderately mild recurve. It's not exactly, in your face, aggressive recurve. And I'm not a huge fan of recurves really normally, but for one reason or another, this guy definitely does it for me. I absolutely love this knife. This is also the first knife I've ever used that doesn't have standard thumb studs. This kind of has, it's not a disc or anything like that, or it's just a very strangely shaped thumb stud. But I think the aesthetics for this knife are good with this, I don't know what you want to call this, thumb deployment mechanism. As you can see, it's got fantastic action. It whips right open with the thumb stud. I'm just going to call it that. You can also reverse flick this guy with no problem whatsoever. And you can also slow roll it if you want to. But yeah, I don't mind deploying this guy with my thumb, but I definitely prefer using the reverse flick with this guy. It's a lot easier, and as you can see, all you got to do is pull back the RAM-LOK a little bit, and that guy falls straight down. I mean, I would call this guillotine action for sure. You want to make sure your fingers are out of the way when you disengage this guy, because it'll cut you open for sure. Let's see. We are looking at, we've also got a flat grind here. There's a swedge that starts at about, I'd say it's about 10 cents. About 10% down the blade, it starts with a swedge and it carries all the way out to the tip. Kind of following that recurve line. You've got a nice little curvy line here in the center, and a flat that carries out to about 40% the edge of the blade. As I said, you've got these thumb studs here, you've got the Microtech emblem there, and it says M390MK on the blade there. The other side is completely sterile, which is nice. We have a T20 pivot on this guy. T8s for everything else. You've also got the filler tab here because this is a fully a fully ambidextrous knife with that RAM-LOK on there, so you can switch over the pocket clip to the other side. You do have a titanium backspacer here, which has some nice milling lines on it, and you've also got a milled titanium pocket clip. I like the pocket clip on this guy a lot more than I like the pocket clip on most Microtech knives. I'll go ahead and give you a close-up view of this guy all the way down and back. Very, very nice ergonomics. The handle is curved and the blade also kind of follows that curve a little bit, so it looks kind of like a horseshoe-shaped knife. A lot of good ergonomic lines here. You've got this big space here. You do have an area here that you can use as a forward finger choil. It's a little close for me to go more than one knuckle, but with this space up here for your thumb, it's very, very comfortable to carry it like this. As you can see, I've got quite a bit hanging out the back of my hand here, so this is a very long knife. Not too long in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I like bigger knives. I always have. I probably always will. You've got G10 scales here, which I'll show you. I'll close this guy first so I don't cut myself. But you've got G10 scales here with multi-directional milling. They've got a bunch of nice fluting lines there, and as you can see, like I said, it's multi-directional, so you've got some milling going this way for the major part of the scales, and then down where the thumb studs are, you've got milling going in the opposite direction, and you have that on both sides. You do have some steppage here on the thumb studs. Those help for nice, meaningful traction with your thumb. And you can also take these off if you want to. I don't know why you'd want to, but if you do, you can do it. Here's the top part of the RAM-LOK here. You've also got the stop pin there, which is very, very robust, very large stop pin there. And then they have some jimping up on the RAM-LOK here as well. I don't necessarily know why they do that, because you can't really use the jimping on here to pull the lock back. You have to use these two buttons on the sides, but whatever. It's an aesthetic choice. I like it. I don't mind it at all. I don't, you know, I don't know. Again, I don't know why they put the jimping or the the jimping here, but again, it's an aesthetic choice. It's a nice looking area. You've also got some jimping here where your thumb can go, and then you've got a little bit more jimping up here on the blade to help with some traction with your thumb. There's a little bit more jimping here to give you some good gripitude on your your middle finger, and you've got a little bit more jimping back here that you can use for traction as well. As I said before, you've got some milling here on the back spacer, which is nice. That also provides some meaningful traction. And I love the way they have these this pocket clip done. You know, just a little bit of liftage right in the front there, so you can get that over the pocket. And this thing does slide in and out of the pocket very, very easily. You do also have a lanyard hole here. The lanyard people rejoice. You'll be very happy about that. And this is a very expensive knife, but it's not terribly expensive. The custom versions are $2,000 or $3,000. This guy is going to run you around $300. It is available on a few sites right now. I think Blade HQ has a what's the word I'm looking for? Serrated, partially serrated version. And NC Blade, Southern Edges, and American Edge also have standard versions of this guy available, again, for $300. So I will link those down in the description. So if you guys are interested in this, you're more than able to buy this right now. It is kind of hard to find. It comes in and out of stock very, very quickly. So if you are interested, make sure you go to those links in the description and go ahead and pick this guy up if you're interested in that. So I've already told you about all the hardware. I've told you about the blade, the scales. I told you that the pocket clip is titanium. There are some cartridge liners in this guy. I don't know if I can show you those or not. It's kind of hard to see inside of here. Maybe let's see if I can open it up and show you. Get rid of the blurriness. Okay, so you can kind of see the cartridge liners coming down, and then they stop right about here, right where this screw for the backspacer is. But yeah, there's definitely cartridge liners on both sides there. I don't know why that's still not focusing. But yeah, you can only see the one on this side, but you can see that it stops right where this screw is. So that's not a terribly long cartridge liner, but these scales are thick enough to where it's not really going to be an issue. They're still very robust. They don't bend or anything like that when you squeeze hard on the knife. And as you can see, the action here is just, it's a dream. It's absolutely amazing. Fantastic. I don't want to call it a detent, because you're basically just running the tang of the blade right on the RAM-LOK here, which is kind of creates the detent. If this guy does have a heavy enough blade to where if you kind of shake it, it's going to come out. But that's not terrible in my opinion. You're not going to be running with this guy. And if you are running with this guy, you definitely don't be wearing basketball shorts, because it's a friggin' heavy knife. It's not super duper heavy, but it's heavy enough. Again, I've covered the RAM-LOK. This thing is running on bearings. The deployment is fantastic. The lockout is amazing. No blade play left, right, up, or down. And let's check the centering there. Centering is dead nuts. Absolutely perfect. Again, this guy is $300. But as I said, the custom version of this is going to cost you a lot more than that. So I think if you're interested in this guy, it would definitely be a good knife to pick up. It's a cool knife to own. It's a lot of fun. It's badass looking. Again, I am going to link the websites that have this guy available down in the description if you're interested. But that's it for this video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, you know what to do. Please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And stay up, y'all. Take it easy. Bye.